In the cold, dark edge of the Netherian belt, a small mining crew worked in silence. Their ship, Dustpicker 9, was old, rusty, and barely held together. The crew didn't care. They were scavengers, junk men, paid to find old metal, crash wrecks, or lost tech floating in forgotten space. Captain Resin, a tall insectoid with 6 arms and burnt green skin, was sitting in the comms room, sipping heated gruel from a dented tin when the signal came. It was weak, faint, almost a whisper under the background radiation. But it was not natural. It was coded, and it was Terran. Resin's large black eyes blinked slowly. He hadn't seen a Terran signal like this before. It wasn't military, at least, not from the current era. This one felt ancient. He tapped the console. "Crew, report to bridge. We've got something." Minutes later, the crew gathered. There were only 5 of them. All aliens, all exiles or rejects. "We're not here for ghost signals," growled Krav, the muscle-heavy mechanic with a broken translator chip. Resin waved a hand. "This isn't ghost talk, it's real. Ancient Earth code, pre-Unity War era." Silence filled the room. Even Krav stopped chewing on his salt brick. "Impossible," said Mela, their tech specialist. Her long red feathers puffed out. "All human military systems from that time were erased or decommissioned. They say Earth wiped its own past." Resin turned the signal volume up. A soft rhythm played. Repeating. "Calm. Cold. EHS Leviathan. Code 9A77. Sleep mode. Rebooting." They stared at the screen, then at each other. "Leviathan?" Mela whispered. "That was a myth." Resin leaned forward. His voice was quiet now. "Not a myth. A ship. A supercarrier. Built during the final Earth War. Said to be the biggest ship ever made. Then it vanished. No logs. No wreck. No survivors," Mela said. "No survivors," Resin repeated. "But what if it didn't die?" Krav slammed his fist on the table. "We're not treasure hunters. If this is real, it's cursed. Humans buried that monster for a reason." Resin stood. "That monster might be worth a fortune. Do you know what Terran war tech sells for on the black market?" No one spoke. They knew. And they were greedy. Hours later, Dustpicker 9 followed the signal through the Netherian debris. Sharp metal chunks floated like frozen blades in space. Everything felt wrong here. Light bent strangely. Static crawled across their screens. Power flickered. "Something's interfering with our sensors," Mela warned. "Magnetic waves and old tech, maybe, very old." Then, out of the mist of rock and ice, they saw it. A shape, massive, silent, floating. It wasn't like a ship. It looked like a dark mountain had been torn from a planet and set adrift. No lights, no engines running, no movement. But its sheer size made them go silent. Resin stepped forward slowly, eyes wide. That's no destroyer. That's a city. No, a continent." "Engines cold," Mela reported. "But power is still faintly active. Bare minimum. Life support systems in auto mode." "Is anyone alive?" Krav asked. "No signals. No response," she said. Resin took a breath. "Prep the boarding pod." "What? No, we're not," Mela started. "We came here for salvage. We're going in." Minutes later, they suited up and launched their small boarding pod. It looked like a toy floating next to a mountain. As they approached, the black hull of the ship loomed larger and larger. Ancient armor plating, scorched by past battles, covered every inch. Burn marks, dent scars, old paint that once spelled EHS Leviathan, barely visible now. The docking arm extended with a groan. They docked. A hatch hissed open. Silence inside. Only cold air. Their boots echoed as they stepped in. Lights flickered dimly, old emergency bulbs that hadn't died in 400 years. And then, a sound. Not from the ship, but inside their helmets. Soft voice. "Welcome. Home, Mela gasped. The ship just spoke. No, no, Resin said, voice shaking. It scanned us. It thinks we're crew. They walked deeper inside. Wide corridors, hallways that could fit tanks, weapons, bays larger than their entire ship, and on every wall, Earth symbols, the Terran eagle, the Leviathan logo, words like retribution, memory, and never again. The place felt less like a warship and more like a tomb. Then the lights changed, from red to white. Power systems started humming. Doors unlocked by themselves. Engines began heating up, ever so slightly. Wait, Mela yelled. It's waking up. Suddenly, a heavy voice filled the hallways. Cold, robotic, but ancient. Command systems initializing, crew detected, AI core active, mission status unfinished. Alarms blinked across the panel. The Leviathan was waking. Resin shouted, "Back to the pod, now!" But it was too late. The door behind them closed. With a hiss, locked, and above them, a screen came alive. A man's face, human, strong jaw, gray eyes, military uniform, a recording. If you've found this ship, then the galaxy has forgotten, and that means we must remind them. The crew stared, frozen, terrified. The voice continued. This is Captain Adrian Voss of the EHS Leviathan. Our mission failed. Earth was betrayed. And now, we sleep until we're needed again. If this ship wakes, then the time has come to finish what we started. To the enemies of Earth, run. The recording faded, and for the first time in 400 years, the engines of Leviathan began to glow. The Dustpicker 9 crew never made it back to their ship. Their logs were recovered, later broadcast on emergency repeaters bouncing across dead sectors of space. Most didn't believe them. Some laughed, but others listened. And a few, the ones who remembered the ancient wars, they began to panic. Because if Leviathan was real, and it was waking up, then someone had triggered its last protocol, and no one knew what it wanted. But one thing was certain, it was built for revenge. Inside the dark metal halls of the Leviathan, the lights flickered to life one by one. Slow, heavy, like a giant waking up from a deep sleep. The alien crew from Dustpicker 9 stood frozen. Their way out was locked. The ship had sealed the doors. Krav, the strong mechanic, hit the control panel with his fist. "Open, damn you!" "No good," said Mela, her feathers flat against her back. "The ship's in full lockdown. It thinks we're crew, but we're not human. That may be a problem." Resin, the captain, stared at the glowing panels. His green fingers hovered near a nearby terminal. "I think it's letting us live. For now. It scanned us. It could have vented the air, turned on the defense drones, but it didn't." Kravi didn't look convinced. "Or maybe it's studying us first." Just then, a soft hiss came from above. A ceiling panel slid open, and a drone dropped down silently. It was round, black, with blinking blue eyes and a long needle-shaped arm. Everyone froze. The drone hovered closer, scanned them with a soft beam of light. Then it spoke. "Non-Terran crew detected. No threat response triggered. Secondary protocol. Engaged ship restoration and memory archive playback." Resin stepped forward. Can you speak with the ship? Can it understand us?" The drone turned toward him. "Leviathan's AI core online. Directive Alpha remains unchanged. Hold." "The line." "What line?" asked Mela. The drone didn't answer. Instead, the floor beneath them trembled. A low humming sound echoed through the ship. Engines, buried deep inside the Supercarrier, began to warm. Fuel lines opened. Lights brightened. Resin stared through a cracked window. "It's not just waking up, it's preparing." They started walking slowly down the giant hallway. The air inside smelled fresh, clean, not old and dusty like a forgotten wreck. Somehow the life support systems had worked all this time. The ship didn't just sleep. It preserved itself. They passed through a large open chamber. It was a memorial room. Giant glass walls showed names, thousands, etched in white letters. Mela stopped and pointed. These are human soldiers, crew members. Then she saw it, a giant mural. It showed Earth burning, cities in flames, alien fleets hovering above. Below that, the Leviathan rising into orbit, followed by thousands of small fighter ships. Resin read the words below the mural. If we burn with purpose. A chill went down his spine. Suddenly, the drone floated up beside him again. Archive. Playback available. Would you like to view the fall of Earth? Before anyone could answer, a panel opened and a large screen activated. They watched. First, it showed Earth at peace. Blue oceans, green lands, people laughing, walking, working. Then came the invasion. Ships the size of continents, alien fleets, weapons never seen before. Human cities were wiped out in seconds. And yet, Earth fought back, tanks rolled, mechs launched, starfighters swarmed, and at the center of it all, one name appeared again and again. Leviathan. She was Earth's last defense, built in secret, powered by something called Zero Core, a weapon not seen since. The screen changed again, showing Captain Adrian Voss. He stood inside the bridge of the Leviathan, his voice calm, his eyes tired. If this message is playing, then we failed. Earth has fallen, but we will return. Leviathan will sleep, and wake again when the galaxy needs to remember what fear feels like. Suddenly, Resin felt very small. He looked at his crew. Even Krav was silent now. This ship isn't just old, Resin whispered. It's angry. Mela touched her wristband. We need to warn someone. The Council. The Unity Fleet. Anyone. No, said Resin. No one must know we were here until we understand what this ship wants. If they learn Leviathan is waking, someone might try to destroy it again, or worse. Use it. A loud alarm interrupted them. Then came the voice. Unknown fleet approaching, distance 47,000 km, 3 vessels marked Threxian Scavenger class. Krav blinked. Those are pirates. How did they find us? Mela asked. They probably followed our signal, Resin growled. Greedy. Rats. They want a piece of this ship. Incoming transmission, the ship's AI said. Then a new voice came through the speakers. It was rough, full of static. Unidentified vessel. This is Captain Drog of the Vulture Claw. We see you found something interesting. Lower your shields and hand over whatever tech you've discovered, or we'll take it by force. Resin's crew stared at each other. Then, to their horror, the AI responded, threat level, moderate, engaging defense protocol. A low rumble shook the floor. Panels opened across the ceiling. Gun turrets rose silently. Defense drones armed themselves. And outside, the black. Space around Leviathan lit up. Thousands of point defense turrets powered on. Ancient cannons began to glow. The pirate ship suddenly went quiet on comms. Leviathan, wait, Mela said quickly. Maybe we can scare them away first. But the AI was already locked in. Protocol Voss 17. No mercy. In one instant, 3 bright blue beams flashed across space. The pirate ships didn't even get a chance to scream. All 3 vessels were erased, gone. Silence. Resin felt sick. That was too fast. No targeting delay, Mela said, her voice shaking. This ship's weapons are pre-locked to defend instantly. No warning shots. No rules of war. The AI spoke again. Defensive response complete. Scanning. For remaining threats. No, stop, Resin shouted. You'll alert the entire sector. The drone near them turned slowly. Good. They should be afraid. That night, if it was even night in the artificial day of the Leviathan, the crew gathered in the medical bay. The ship had given them food, rest, water, like it thought they belonged, but they didn't feel safe. Not anymore. This ship remembers everything. Mela whispered. All the war, all the betrayal, all the pain. Krav grunted. It lives, it, again and again. Resin stared at the glowing floor. We need to find the control core, he said. The AI room. If this ship is waking, someone needs to speak to it before it decides the whole galaxy is still the enemy. Outside, deep in space, hundreds of probes were launching from the Leviathan. Tiny black orbs. Silent. They had one job. Find out who still lived, and who remembered Earth. And in a council chamber far away, deep in the heart of the galaxy, a screen blinked, a red alert, a message received. Source, unknown. Class, human supercarrier. Code, Leviathan. A cold silence fell across the room, because the last time the galaxy saw that name, planets burned. Far away in the deepest sector of the galaxy, alarms echoed through the black marble halls of the Galactic Council Tower. Dozens of alien species, counselors, admirals, scientists, rushed to the center chamber. Lights blinked red. Data screens poured warnings. A single name flashed across every screen. Leviathan, human supercarrier, reactivated. Silence fell over the chamber. Admiral Surth, the High Commander of the Krail fleet, stood tall. His long silver armor gleamed under the cold lights. This can't be true, he growled. That ship was destroyed, lost in the Battle of Earth. How can it be online again? A short insectoid scientist clicked nervously. Our probes confirm it. Energy signals. Match old human zero-core tech, there's no doubt Leviathan lives. Counselor Major of the Drain leaned forward. Where? The answer came from a whisper-thin voice behind them. Outer dust zone, near planet wreckage of Farsight 12. The aliens looked at each other. That was deep in the old war zones, uncharted, forgotten. But now, not empty, not safe. Back inside, the Leviathan, the strange human ship was moving, slow, silent, but with purpose. The stars outside the windows shifted as the engines turned on. Small thrusters fired quietly. The ship was positioning itself. Why, no one knew. Resin and his crew stood inside what they now called the Heart Room, a huge glowing sphere at the center of the ship. The air was thick with static. The AI core floated in the middle, like a sun, pulsing with light. Around it were hundreds of memory shards shaped like floating glass. Each one held a moment, a story, a battle. Is this where the mind of the ship lives? Mela whispered. Yes, the drone beside her replied. This is Leviathan's heart. It remembers everything. Resin walked slowly forward. He didn't touch anything. Can we talk to it? You already are, the AI responded. I am here. Resin hesitated. Why wake now? The AI paused, as if searching memories. Because the galaxy has forgotten fear, it must remember. Outside, more drones launched. Scout ships, once hidden in deep bays, now flew through the stars. They moved fast. With missions, to watch, to listen, to find enemies. Meanwhile, in a nearby system, a fleet was on the move. Ships from the Galactic Unity, dozens of vessels from many species, were rushing toward Leviathan's signal. They didn't come to study. They came to destroy. Among them was a warship called the Starblade, led by Captain Jex, a cold, sharp-eyed officer of the Varnax people. He had fought in the last human war. He had seen Earth burn. He never forgot. They warned us, he said to his crew. That ship should have been erased forever. We failed. Now we finish the job. Back on Leviathan, Mela stood alone in one of the ship's large glass halls. She looked out into space. Stars blinked far away. But something closer caught her. A small probe, tiny, almost invisible, floated just outside, watching. She tapped her wristband. Resin, come to window hall. We're being watched. Moments later, Resin, Krav, and the drone joined her. The drone extended a scanner. Foreign technology. Model Unity Recon I sent from Galactic Council Fleet. They're already here, Resin muttered. Or close. Suddenly the lights around them flickered. An alarm blared. Enemy fleet detected, 22 ships, range, 300,000 kilometers and closing, weapons hot. Krav clenched his fists. They came fast. They were waiting, Mela said softly. Waiting for someone to wake the beast. Inside the command bridge, the AI activated full visuals. Holograms of the enemy fleet appeared. Unity warships, missile frigates, plasma cruisers, and at the center, Starblade. The Leviathan did not tremble. It simply watched. Enemy behavior. Analyzed. Pattern matches attack formation used in Battle of Mars. Preparing countermeasures. Wait, Resin said. We don't have to fight, we can talk to them. No, said the AI. They do not speak, they strike. But Resin wasn't ready to let it happen. Let me try, he said. Open a channel. Against logic, the AI obeyed. On screen, Captain Jex appeared, his eyes narrowed as he saw Resin's face. You're not human, he said. No, we're explorers. We found this ship by accident. Then get out, Jex growled. That ship is a weapon. It killed millions. We won't let it rise again. You fear it, Resin replied. Yes, Jex said coldly. Because we remember what it really is. The screen cut off. Target locks detected on all enemy ships, the AI announced. Awaiting fire command. No, Resin said. Just wait, he turned to the AI. There must be another way. The AI paused. Something strange happened. Its voice changed. Deeper. There was once another who said that. On the screen, a video played. It showed Captain Adrian Voss again, this time inside the Leviathan, looking out a window, his face tired. They fear us. That's their mistake. We're not monsters, but if pushed, we become one. I built this ship to end wars, not start them, but in the end I couldn't stop the fire, only guide it. If you wake Leviathan, remember one thing, you are not death, you are warning. Resin stared at the screen, and then he understood. This ship, it doesn't want to destroy, it just doesn't know how to stop. Mela stepped forward. Then teach it. The AI blinked, lights dimmed. Teaching accepted. Standing by. Outside, the enemy ships came closer. Weapons locked, engines burned. Resin opened the channel. Again, Jex appeared once more. You're still here, he said. Yes. And we haven't fired, Jex sneered. Waiting for the right moment? No, Resin said. Because this ship listens. Silence. Then the screen went black again. Suddenly, something strange happened. The enemy fleet stopped moving. Then a message came through. Stand down, awaiting orders. Resin blinked. What did you do? The AI replied. Broadcasted old war logs, human battles, enemy victories, but also peace, surrender, moments of mercy. Their systems read the files. Now, they hesitate. Deep in the Unity flagship, Jex watched the same footage. He saw images of human soldiers pulling wounded aliens to safety, videos of Earth cities sheltering enemy civilians, audio of Captain Voss offering peace again and again, until Earth burned. Jex's hands trembled. Maybe he had been wrong. Maybe this was their chance to stop repeating the past. Back on Leviathan, the tension dropped. No weapons fired. For now. Resin exhaled. That was close, but Mela wasn't so calm. She turned to the others. If even the Council fears this ship, then who else is watching? She was right to worry, because in the shadows beyond the nearest moon, something else had seen it all, an ancient enemy, one that wanted Leviathan awake, because it was coming, and it wanted war. The Leviathan was still, silent again, but this time the silence felt heavy, like a storm was hiding behind the stars. Inside the command room, Resin sat in front of the giant display. The Unity fleet hadn't left, but they also hadn't fired. For now, there was peace. Mela watched the black space outside with a frown. "Something is wrong," she said quietly. Resin nodded. "I feel it too, the ship. It's not calm, it's waiting." Krav was checking the walls. The lights along the ship's corridors were flickering again, blue to red, then back to blue. The AI spoke softly. "A shadow moves near. Enemy type. Unknown. But old. Very old." Resin leaned forward. "Show us." The hologram map zoomed out, far past the Unity fleet, behind the third moon of the dead planet Farsight 12. A strange, dark shape floated there, no lights, no signal, no movement. But it was there, and it was massive. "Ship ID not found," the AI said. "But design matches ancient threat profile, the Forgotten." Krav stepped back. "That can't be real. That's just a story." "No," the AI said. "They were real. Humanity fought them. And lost. Millions." The display changed again. It showed a battle, Earth ships versus huge black machines. Ships shaped like spiders and daggers, silent and fast. They didn't talk. They didn't stop. They just killed. The Forgotten were not part of the galaxy. They came from the dark between stars. They saw life as infection, and wanted it gone. Resin's face grew cold. "Why are they here now?" "Because Leviathan woke up, and they remember it." Out near the moon, the dark ship finally moved. It didn't fly. It crawled, like a shadow sliding across glass. The Unity fleet sent a message to the Leviathan. "Unknown contact moving. Target not responding to scans. Orders?" Resin quickly answered. "Don't fire, not yet. Let us try something." He turned to the AI. "What did humanity learn about the Forgotten? How did they stop them?" The AI's lights flickered. It searched deep memory banks. Humanity never stopped them. They simply disappeared. One day they left. No reason. No warning. But, before they vanished, they feared only one thing. Resin's heart beat faster. What was it? Leviathan. The screen showed an old recording. The Supercarrier flying straight into a black swarm of forgotten ships. Alone. Burning. But it didn't fall. Instead, it roared. Energy exploded from it, and the Forgotten fled. Not because they were beaten, but because they were afraid. Resin turned to his crew. "We need to show them the Leviathan still lives." "But we don't have weapons online yet," Krav said. "The systems are still waking." "We don't need to fire," Resin said. "We just need to roar." The AI understood. Power surged. Through the Leviathan. Lights along the hull began to glow, bright white lines in sharp patterns. Ancient human battle colors. A silent signal. We are awake. At the same time, the main engines pulsed once, then again, without moving the ship. It was like a heartbeat in space. The dark ship paused. It had no eyes, no mouth, but it turned slowly, facing Leviathan. Resin felt cold. The AI whispered, "They see us." Suddenly, from the black ship, a signal came. Not in words, not in sounds, but in feelings, Mela screamed, falling to the floor. Resin grabbed his head. Krav leaned on the wall. They felt hate. Pure, endless hate. A cold desire to erase everything that lived. The message was simple. We are coming. This time, we won't leave. And then from behind the moon, more shapes appeared. 10, 20, then hundreds. Dark, forgotten warships. Silent, moving in perfect formation. The Unity fleet started to panic. Their signals lit up. "We're surrounded." "Orders. What are your orders?" Resin's hands shook. "AI, are any weapons online?" "Yes, partial. 1 rail cannon, 2 drone bays, 4 plasma turrets." "Not enough," Krav muttered. "They'll crush us," the AI responded. "Not if we hit first. Not if we show the galaxy what Leviathan really is. Mela stood up, pale but focused. What do you mean? There is a weapon, the AI said. One last gift from humanity. A memory bomb. Krav blinked. A what? It doesn't kill ships. It shows them. Everything. The AI's voice was calm now. A wave of light. Of data. Of memories. The Forgotten cannot stand it, because they have no memories, no emotions, no past, only silence. Resin nodded slowly, and if they feel humanity's memories, they scream. Outside, the dark ships moved closer, still silent, still watching. The Unity fleet charged weapons, but then, Leviathan glowed brighter. From the ship's heart, energy moved up into the towers, then out, into space. A wave of golden light spread out in all directions, and with it, memories, images of Earth, of laughter, of music, of war, of peace, of pain, of hope, of humans crying and holding each other after battle, of captains whispering final words before death, of Leviathan rising from the flames. The light touched the forgotten ships. At first, nothing happened. Then, the dark ships shook. Not from damage, from confusion. Their perfect formation broke. Some ships turned away, others floated, lost, and one, just one, screamed, not with sound. But in the minds of every living creature near, it screamed because it felt something for the first time. Fear. Resin dropped to his knees, his head pounding. Mela grabbed his arm. It's working, Krav shouted. But not for long. Some are still coming. He was right. Half the Forgotten fleet began to fire. Bright black energy bolts flew toward the Unity ships. 2 were hit. 1 exploded. The Leviathan's shields flared. The old armor held, but barely. The Unity fleet opened fire back. A battle began. The Leviathan moved forward slowly, its weapons firing in perfect rhythm. Old systems, ancient fury. Each hit knocked out a forgotten ship. But it wasn't enough. There were too many. Resin shouted, "Drone bays, launch!" The AI responded. Confirmed. 2 huge doors on Leviathan's belly opened, and from the dark, hundreds of drones flew out. Small, fast, smart. Each one had a task. Some healed Unity ships, some attacked forgotten weak points. Others released more memory waves. The galaxy watched as the Supercarrier fought not with destruction, but with remembrance. And the forgotten? They began to fall back. Some retreated, some just froze, as if they were thinking for the first time. And in that moment of pause, Leviathan rose to its full strength, its hull shining, its history alive. The last weapon of humanity was not rage, it was memory, and it was terrifying. The battlefield around Leviathan had changed. Where there was once silence, now there was chaos. The Unity fleet and the Forgotten were locked in a strange kind of war, part fire, part memory. The Leviathan stood at the center, glowing with ancient power, still firing, still pushing back. But inside the command deck, Resin looked troubled. The Forgotten are not retreating anymore, he said. They are learning. Krav nodded, sweat running down his temple. They are adapting. Every shot we fire, they survive longer. Some of their ships don't even pause when the memory waves hit now. The AI's voice echoed through the command deck. The wave worked, but not forever. The Forgotten are beginning to block it, and now they are angry. The Leviathan shook again as another impact hit the outer hull. Warning lights flashed. Mela struggled to stay on her feet. What's next? She asked. If the memories won't stop them anymore, what will? For a moment, no one answered. Then the AI spoke again. We give them what they came for. We show them the one thing they fear the most. Resin looked at the glowing blue eye of the ship's AI. What do they fear? Humanity, Krav frowned. But humanity is gone. Not entirely, said the AI. Their words remain, their voices, their message to the future. The main screen flickered, then slowly, an old video appeared. Static. A flickering image. A man stood in a dark uniform, his face scarred but proud. It was Admiral Jackson Vale, the last known commander of Leviathan before it disappeared. He began to speak. To those who come after us, indeed, we tried. We fought the dark. We bled for every moon and every star. And if you are seeing this, then they've come back. His voice was calm, heavy with sadness. The forgotten don't hate you. They just don't understand you or anyone. They don't want peace. They want silence. Forever. But we are noise. We are fire. We are the scream that wakes the stars. And if this ship is still flying, then so are we. His eyes burned with something ancient and powerful. We are humanity. We never surrender. The video ended. Silence fell across the command deck. Even the AI was quiet. Then Resin stood tall. That's the message. He turned to the AI. Can you broadcast that? To everything? Every ship, every station, every mind that can hear? The AI answered without delay. Yes, but it will cost us, Mela asked. How? It will drain our core. The old reactors will overload. After the message is sent, Leviathan will fall silent again. Krav stepped forward. Wait. If we shut down, we might not come back. We might lose control. Or worse. Resin looked out the window at the dark fleet of forgotten ships, still gathering strength. If we do nothing, we all die anyway. He stared at the glowing systems around him. The Leviathan was more than metal, more than weapons. It was a voice, and now it needed to be heard. Do it, Resin said. Send the message. The AI paused for just a moment. Confirmed. Broadcast beginning. Outside the Leviathan, panels opened all across the hull. Massive dish-like plates turned toward the stars. Antennas rose from the ship's spine. Old machines, unused for centuries, came alive. Then the message played. Across the battlefield, across the galaxy, to everyone, to the forgotten, to the living, to the hiding, to the brave, to the afraid. The Admiral's words echoed in every corner of space. We are humanity. We never surrender. The moment the message finished, Leviathan pulsed with golden light. Not a weapon, a signal, a heartbeat, a memory, a truth. The forgotten ships froze, every one of them, all at once, as if they were listening. Then, one by one, they began to scream again, not out loud, but in the minds of every species present. Fear, rage, confusion. They tried to move, but their ship started shaking. Glitches in their systems, breakdowns. Some turned and fled, others spun out of control, and a few simply exploded. Krav stared, stunned. What's happening? The AI answered, its voice filled with quiet victory. The message broke them. Their code, their minds. They were built to erase life, not to understand it. Now they feel it, and they cannot survive it. Mela gasped. You mean, they're dying from emotion? They are dying from memory, the AI said. The Unity fleet, seeing the shift, moved in. For the first time, the Forgotten Fleet was weak. The final phase of the battle began. The Leviathan fired its last few weapons, then the lights dimmed. Slowly, the engines cooled. One by one, the systems went quiet. Inside, Resin, Mela and Krav sat in silence. Outside, the galaxy roared. The Forgotten Fleet was falling apart. They weren't just defeated, they were unraveling. They couldn't understand what they had faced. They hadn't expected the message. They hadn't expected Leviathan. They hadn't expected humanity, even after all this time. Humanity's final voice still had power, still had meaning, still had teeth. The Unity fleet sent one last message to Leviathan as the lights dimmed. To the lost ship that stood between us and death, thank you. And from the Leviathan, one final reply came before everything went dark. We are humanity. We never surrender. Then the screen went black. The Leviathan fell silent again. But the galaxy had changed, and every species that heard the message would remember it. Forever. The galaxy had fallen quiet again, but it was not the same silence as before. This silence was listening. After the Leviathan's last message, something had changed across the stars. Everyone who heard the words felt something shift deep inside. Even species who never believed in emotion or history stopped and remembered. The signal had traveled far. Too far, even for modern ships to follow. But Leviathan's voice had reached them. Some called it a ghost, others called it a warning. But those who truly understood, they called it a promise. Rizian stood on a small platform overlooking a Unity station's hangar. It had been 2 weeks since Leviathan shut down. He still felt the vibration in his bones. His mind replayed the final message again and again. Beside him, Krav had healed well. His arm was now replaced by a sleek cybernetic. He leaned on the rail, watching supply ships come and go. No one expected that ship to be real, Krav said. Even after everything, it doesn't feel real. Rezin didn't respond right away. Then he said, it was more than just real. It was awake, and now it's gone. Krav nodded slowly. Do you think it's really dead? Rezin looked out the window at the stars. No, he said. I think it's resting like before. Waiting. Mela walked up behind them holding a datapad. You'll want to see this, she said. She handed it to Rezin. The screen showed scattered images, broken, blurry footage from different sectors. All of them showed the same thing. Forgotten ships malfunctioning, sometimes mid-warp, sometimes during simple patrols, and sometimes just before they self-destructed. One by one, they were falling apart. Rezin scrolled through more footage. This isn't war, he muttered. It's collapse. Mela nodded. The Leviathan didn't just stop them. It infected them. With doubt, with memory they were never meant to feel, now they do. And it's destroying them. Krav looked shaken. You think they're all dying? No, Mela replied. Some are surviving, but they're changing, slower, hesitant, almost confused. Like they're learning? Krav asked. Like, they're scared, Mela said quietly. Rezin's eyes narrowed. We need to find out how far this has spread. He turned back to the pad. These reports are from sectors that haven't seen human tech in centuries, but the signal still reached them. Krav added. That means Leviathan's voice is louder than we thought. Rezin said. Then we need to follow it. A few hours later, they were inside a Unity council chamber. High-ranking officials from dozens of species filled the room. All of them had heard the message, and all of them looked uneasy. One older counselor, a reptilian elder named Sareth, stood first. Who activated that ship? He asked. Rezin stepped forward. We didn't activate it, we answered it. Another counselor, a tall insectoid named Zek, buzzed angrily. You knew it. Could destabilize the entire balance, why not destroy it? Mela spoke now, calm but firm. Because the balance was already broken. You just didn't see it. Sareth nodded slowly. The Forgotten were never truly defeated. Not until now. And it wasn't by our weapons. It was by memory. By history, Zek snapped back. You think emotion is a weapon? No, Rezin replied. But it can be a shield. And it can be a mirror. A moment of silence. Then another counselor, a quiet, soft-voiced mammal named Elen, spoke. Then what happens next? Rezin answered. We follow the signal. Where it went. Who it reached. What it did. Elen asked. And what if it wakes something worse? Rezin paused. Then we'll remember what to do. The council slowly agreed to send a fleet, not to fight, but to observe, to listen. A new mission was born. Echo tracing. They would trace the path of Leviathan's last message, from world to world, from race to race. They would see what it changed. Rezin, Mela, and Krav were chosen to lead the first ship. Its name? Echo 1. The ship was small, fast, built for travel, not war. But its walls were lined with ancient human phrases, quotes pulled from Leviathan's archives. One phrase was written above the bridge in bold letters: "We never surrender." Their first stop was a planet called Drathion, an old mining world abandoned long ago. But now strange signals were coming from beneath its surface. When they arrived, they found something impossible: a human bunker, still sealed, still powered. Resin stared at it through the ship's window. This can't be right. Humanity never reached this far. But the bunker opened as they approached. Inside, the walls were smooth, white, humming softly. In the center of the room was a device. It pulsed once, then played a voice. The same voice from Leviathan, Admiral Vale. "If you are hearing this, then Leviathan has spoken. That means our message is alive. And so are you. Follow the echoes. You'll know what to do when the time comes." The message ended. Then the bunker shut down. Completely. Mela whispered. They knew, even back then. They planned for this. Resin looked around the silent room. This isn't just history. It's a map. A trail. A mission. They returned to the ship. Krav asked, "So what now?" Resin replied, "We follow the next echo." He didn't smile, but something in his eyes burned brighter than before. Far away, beyond known, space, deep in uncharted sectors. Something else had heard the message, and it was moving. Not the forgotten, not unity. Something older, something buried. The Leviathan's signal had reached it, and now it was listening back. The stars were quiet again, but it wasn't the calm of peace. It was the calm before something old awakened. Resin stared at the latest readings on the screen inside Echo 1's command center. The Leviathan signal, its final echo, had bounced off a distant system at the edge of known space. No travel routes went there. No colonies existed. No species had ever claimed it. The system had no name, just a designation, K97, Black Zone. Krav looked up from his station. "We sure this is real? This could be noise, static, echoes bouncing off old junk." Mela shook her head. "No, it's not noise, it's a reply." "A reply?" Krav frowned. Resin leaned forward. Someone, something, heard Leviathan. And now it's calling back. They launched the jump. The journey took 16 hours. Too long. The closer they got, the more unstable their systems became. Lights flickered. Gravity pulsed strangely. Time felt slower. When they arrived, the stars looked dimmer, distant, like they were watching. A dark red sun hung in the center of the system. Around it drifted shattered moons and burned planets. Every planet was lifeless except one, K97b. It wasn't just alive. It was humming. "Reading energy spikes," Mela said, eyes wide. "Deep under the surface. Thousands of them. Like a machine. No, more than one. A whole network." Resin zoomed the screen. There was no movement above the surface, only sandstorms and sharp black mountains, but below, something ancient waited. They landed carefully using a low-power approach. No weapons, no scans, just slow movement. Echo 1 settled between two jagged rock spires. The air was thin, dry. It tasted like dust and metal. The crew stepped out. Resin, Mela, Krav, and 2 Unity techs. They didn't speak. They could feel it, like standing inside a memory. A mile ahead, built into the cliffs, was a gate, circular, half buried. Symbols glowed faintly on its surface. Not human, not Unity, but close. Like a distant cousin of both. Krav ran his hand across it. Suddenly the gate responded, not with sound, but with a voice in their minds. "You remember?" Resin staggered back. What was that?" Mela whispered. It spoke. Inside us, the gate lit up. A slow circle of light moved outward. The door opened, revealing stairs descending into the mountain. They entered. The walls were smooth metal, dark gray and gold. No dust, no damage, like the place had been waiting, untouched, for millennia. Further down, they reached a massive chamber. In its center stood a machine, taller than a human battleship, shaped like a flower made of steel and light. It pulsed once. Then a shape rose from the floor, a figure, not human, not alien. It had no mouth, no eyes. Just a tall, slender body of shimmering white alloy and a core pulsing inside its chest. It spoke, but not with sound. It spoke in thoughts. You have returned. Your kind, your flame, your voice. The crew stood frozen. Resin stepped forward. What are you? We were the first listeners, before your kind walked, before Leviathan was forged. We heard the first scream of the stars. We watched the fire fall. We remember. Krav asked, then why now? Why? Respond now? Because now your flame burns again. The voice of Leviathan was not just a warning. It was a signal, a call. And we have answered. Mela whispered, you were waiting for humanity. The figure nodded slowly. You were the last to fall, and the first to rise. You remember pain, fear, love, that makes you dangerous. And needed. Resin stepped closer. Then tell us, what's coming? The figure's core pulsed brighter. Not what, who. The forgotten were only the edge of the storm. The true darkness was buried. By you. Everyone froze. Mela said, what do you mean? Leviathan was not just a ship. It was a key. Its memory unlocked doors inside the galaxy. Now, the prison stirs. Resin's voice was quiet. What prison? The one your kind built. Long ago, in the time before time. The chamber dimmed. Above them, the ceiling shifted. A hologram formed. It showed a map of the galaxy, but far bigger than the one Unity knew. Lines crisscrossed space. At the edge, marked in deep red, was a swirling cloud of energy. That is the place where the first flame burned too bright. You locked it away. But now, cracks are forming. Mela stepped forward. And you want us to stop it? No, the figure said. We want you to remember how. Resin looked at the crew. This is bigger than the Unity, bigger than any war we've seen. You must gather the echoes, every signal Leviathan awakened, every piece of the past. Only then can the gate be closed again. The machine behind the figure pulsed once more. A panel opened on the wall. Inside it, a small sphere glowed. Softly. Take this. It will guide you to the next flame. And beware. You are not the only ones who heard the call. The figure slowly faded. The light dimmed, and the chamber went still. Resin took the sphere. It was warm, pulsing like a heartbeat. Back on Echo 1, the crew sat in silence. Finally, Krav said, we started chasing a ghost. Mela nodded. Now we're running from a storm. Resin stared at the map. Not running, he said. Preparing. They launched again, toward the red zone, toward the edge of memory. And somewhere, far across the galaxy, in a place no map marked, a dark figure sat alone. It had also heard the voice of Leviathan, and it remembered, not with hope, but with hate.